manipulate mankind.
So we can see our familiar lines actually run deeper than just presidents and oligarchies and monarchies. We can see that our bloodlines run through all of the celebrities as well. Hillary Clinton is related to Angelina Jolie, who is now a UN Special Peace Ambassador, and Brad Pitt is supposedly related to Barack Obama. Britney Spears is related to John McCain, and Barack Obama is related to all of them through George Bush and Dick Cheney and Hillary Clinton.
Well, you can see that they've been using Hollywood and whatnot for a while to directly now take people straight out of Hollywood and stick them into politics. Like, people didn't realize that it was theater after they elected Ronald Reagan. I mean, come on.
Right.
But if that wasn't enough, they go on and they put Sonny Bono in power. I've got Sonny Bono selling his soul to the system, demonizing marijuana in released National Archives and Records Administration files.
It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The big, the wealthy, the real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. They're irrelevant. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big all the big media companies. So they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls.
Frank Herbert, who's one of my favorite authors, once wrote, it's not that power corrupts or that infinite power corrupts infinitely, it's that power is attractive to those of a corruptible nature.
Yeah, my father used to say that. I don't know where he got it from, but my father used to say that back in the 50s and 60s to me. That power, it's not that power corrupts, etc., etc., it's that power attracts the corruptible, he used to say. And that's very, very true. And this is why, my father used to say anyone who wants to be a politician ought to be banned from being one.
If you want the job, you can't have it. Right?
Yeah. If you want the job, you're the wrong man for it. Okay. And you can see the apparent perversity of that, but you can see the logic of it in a way, because the motivation of a lot of politicians going in and other people too. I mean, even down to people taking tickets in the street for parking of the cars and traffic. They want power over, and anyone that wants power over is themselves in a state of insecurity. Don't think that the Illuminati bloodlines wouldn't do it because you wouldn't do it.
The people that are in control, this is a psychopathic group of people. These are all psychopaths. All of our leaders are psychopaths. Even to want to be a leader of a country, this isn't a normal thing to do. Why would you want to control everybody in the country? And that's what they do, these leaders. You look at what they do. They don't get in power and become Gandhi. They don't get in power and become Christ and try to help everybody in the country. They get in power and they put all these new rules in. They make you all do things their way. These are psychopaths. This is a classic textbook behavior of a psychopath.
The most obvious way of spotting the connections between the Illuminati bloodlines, governments, corporations, and secret societies is to study the symbols that they use to identify and communicate among themselves.
Once you start to realize that all of the symbolism that you see around you actually pertains to the inner rituals of Freemasonry, that's when the clues just open up for you all over the place. This is all purposeful, and every single sign and message that you see around you, from the golden arches to the sun sign on target, have purpose and meaning within a Masonic ritual. So, and within the history. Well, when you start to decipher the corporate logos around you, you realize that all of the major players are involved in this game that you're unaware of. And if you're not aware of this game, then you don't realize how you're being programmed, conditioned through mythology. And to the point where, when I learned about the American Revolution, it was through a film by Walt Disney that they showed me in class about the Sons of Liberty, right? The Freemasons, the Sons of Liberty. And it showed us how all these great men came together to throw off the shackles of monarchy and to give us freedom by tossing tea into the bay. Completely ignoring the fact that they had all just walked out of a Mason temple. Because they were all Masons, every last one of them. Paul Revere to Benedict Arnold, they're all Masons. And they came together and they performed a mythological event. We could call it what we call now false flag terrorism. And so the Boston Tea Party was nothing more than that. And when we then learned that all of the first presidents were Freemasons, up to the first 13, I can pull you out the Masonic Holy Bible and show you the list. I can show you their lodges. They were all members of the Freemasons. Then you take the fact that once you take the Freemason level to presidency, then you take lineage, and you realize, oh my God, all these guys are actually related. So did we actually really displace the monarchy? Did we just give it a new face, a new sheen, and change monarch every 4 years or 8?
It didn't take me very long to figure out that there is a world of symbolism that's organized. It's very highly organized around the world to communicate through mass media, through commerce, through government. It's an incredible world we live in of communications through visual symbols and emblems. Classic example, you go to in Washington, D.C., if you go on television any night to CNN or any of those news, or even on the regular news at night in television, and you will see in Washington, D.C., some crooked politician making some kind of a big speech about something, and they're all crooked. But you see the politicians making a speech in Washington, D.C., and it's where the president, in that room where the president gives his State of the Union message. And I have asked so many people, and they've seen that room, they know where it is, and I said, well, did you ever see the symbols, which are sitting on both sides of the podium where the president stands, the symbols? They've never even noticed. And I said, my God, they're about 8 to 10 foot high, and they're right on both sides of where the president's standing. And those symbols, next time you get a chance, look at the podium, and don't look at the goofball and the paid lackey, who we call politicians in America. They used to be called criminals, but we call them politicians today. And
well, if you're bad at it, you're a criminal. If you're good at it, you're a politician.
well, that's a much better way of saying it. So, yeah, if you're clumsy and bad at it, you're a criminal. You get caught. And if you're very good, then you're a politician. But anyway, on both sides of a presidential podium is a symbol called a fasci, or a fasces. It's a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head, and it's an incredibly important symbol. It symbolizes world fascism, and it's a symbol that came out of the ancient world but was picked up by the Romans, and it began to be very important in the Roman Empire, the fascist symbol, which is a bundle of sticks, like I said, tied in crosses. You'll see it's tied in crosses, and it has a hatchet head. The reason why well, first of all, the symbolism of the bundle of sticks. The idea was that one stick can be broken. 2 or 3 sticks can also be broken. But if you have a bundle of sticks and you tie them together as one unit, now you've got power. Well, George Bush called this fascist idea a coalition of governments. We like to say that, well, America has a coalition, which means we're all a bunch of fascists. We're all collected together like a gang. We've got the Crips and the Bloods and the Hells Angels, and we've got all these gangs, and we collect them together as one unit. And it's politically we call it a coalition of governments. No, it's just a bunch of fascists coming together to bully the world.
Now that the world is almost entirely controlled by the so-called elite, the next step is to cull the human herd. You see, there are too many of us to control if we figure out that we have been scammed. So many, if not most of us, must be eliminated. Those left will be living under the planned New World Order, which will be a fascist police state in which citizens are to be microchipped and allowed only to serve their masters or die. This process of depopulation is well underway in the form of wars, starvation, and toxins introduced into our food, drink, and even the very air we breathe.
There's been a lot of talk over the years, and I talk about it in the book, about an agenda for the culling of the human race. Vast reduction in human numbers.
It's begun already.
Yeah, it's being done already, absolutely, on so many different levels, including mobile phones, by the way, what I call the silent holocaust. The collective, cumulative consequences for that is just horrendous. The reason they want to do it is the number of people on this planet being manipulated, ratio to the number of people doing the manipulating, is absolutely enormous. The number of manipulators in full knowledge of what they're doing is tiny. They can't cope with the numbers that are here now, so they want to cull them.
This is the purpose of the fluoride in the water. Fluoride is not to prevent cavities. It is a sedative and a poison. The first groups to use fluoride in the water supply were the Russians, who used it in their gulags, and the Nazis, who added it to the water supplies in concentration camps. This should be a clue to all of us the contempt with which those responsible for putting fluoride in the water view us.
We have been fluoridating our water in Tennessee for more than 50 years, but never before has there been more talk than that fluoridating our water might be a bad idea and a health risk.
Something most of us don't even think about, fluoridating water. After much research, the doctor has sent out a letter to every water district in Tennessee asking them to stop fluoridating water. That fluoridation is medication added to water without your permission, and that's wrong. But most of all, because the National Research Council believes young children are getting 3 to 4 times the dose of fluoride as adults. And now the American Dental Association is telling mothers not to make baby formula with fluoridated water because of fear of dental fluorosis.
In fact, a 2005 Centers for Disease Control study found too much fluoride has caused irreversibly discolored teeth in 1 out of 3 children. And a major report by the National Academy of Sciences says toxic levels can lead to severe, permanent pitting of the enamel in children. Fluoride can also build up in the bones to cause pain, stiff joints, and skeletal abnormalities when they get older.
It's a cumulative poison.
I mean, there's no law. It's all voluntary, Dan, so anyone can turn on the fluoride or turn it off.
Dennis, let's make sure we're clear on this. Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste, but it's actually a poison, right?
It sure is, and here's the quickest evidence. Go to your bathroom and pick up your toothpaste, and you'll see a warning that if a child swallows more than a pea-sized amount of toothpaste, call poison control.
More than 1,000 scientists and medical professionals from across the world have banded together to warn us that even in its most diluted form, Fluoride is still a poison and can harm your health.
A scientist at a leading dental research institute in Boston